Hi and welcome back to my channel, Shades of Sage, where I share all things motherhood. So today I am sharing yet another fun, joyful part of motherhood that hardly ever gets talked about. And I want to talk about it today. So that is that after you give birth, you can experience some dry skin. So like extreme dry skin. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while, you may have seen my other postpartum videos that I've done. If you haven't, I will link them above and below. And yeah, I like talking about postpartum things because I feel like there's so much that goes on postpartum that people or women hardly ever talk about. And then when you start, describing it or talking about other moms, they're like, oh yeah, I experienced that too. And I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you warn me that this could happen postpartum? So I feel like for each child, for me, the level of dryness has increased after each birth. Now, I did have quite a bit of skin issues with my third pregnancy. So that's with Kenzo. I had a lot of skin issues, like weird rashes popping up in weird places that were like super itchy and things like that. And definitely had dry skin. Like I could only use like a certain lotion that whole entire pregnancy, and even chapstick. For Asa, I didn't really have like skin issues during the pregnancy. Everything was pretty fine, but now afterwards, my skin is so dry, like really, really, really dry. And this kind of goes back to, well, one, that I've had all my kids within a 6-year span. So I had them all back to back. And so your body doesn't, well, my body, I did not give my body time to recuperate. And just build up those nutrients and those health stores that you have that are depleted when you are, carrying a baby and then breastfeeding on top of that. So yeah. By now my skin is definitely going through it, so I really have to stay on top of like my moisture routine and just making sure that I'm using really moisturizing products like after showers and stuff like that. And again, I really do have sensitive skin, so I can't just put anything and everything on my skin. And a couple of my kids do have eczema, so it's just something that kind of runs in the family and something that I have to be mindful of. But I know like after I gave birth, my hands, like they're not that bad. Right now I did put a little bit of lotion on, but yeah, my hands were so like dry, so scaly. Like when I left the hospital, it was like literal scales on my hands, and it just seems like my hands take the brunt of it. It seems like I have other areas that are dry, but my hands definitely get the worst. Now I did give birth in the winter time, and of course the air in the hospital is like really dry and things like that, so that could have contributed to my dry skin. But yeah, and when you're pregnant, of course, your body is working overtime. It's keeping you alive. It's keeping your baby alive, and your baby is growing. So the nutrients that you take in, your baby gets the first of everything. So if you're not taking in enough nutrients as far as like your vitamins and things like that really boost, like skin rejuvenation and just making sure that everything is functioning properly, it will start to tell on you. And that is another reason why, prenatals are important, and the reason why, even taking them post-birth. So as long as you're breastfeeding, it's important to take those. Now, I will admit that I was not really good at taking my prenatals. I was kind of good at taking them during pregnancy, but postpartum, like I definitely don't. And I think that's another reason why, my skin just is so dry, because again, if you're breastfeeding, you're still keeping that whole nother person alive. So what you take in is being expressed through your breast milk, and you need those extra nutrients to create your breast milk and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a whole lot postpartum that people don't talk about. But this is one of the things. I was talking to my mom recently about it, and I was just like, telling her about my dry skin, because I hadn't really connected it to it being like a postpartum thing. And she was like, yeah, she experienced the same thing with her last child, after she gave birth. And then I was like, oh, that makes sense. Now it's making sense to me now. So yeah, ladies, if you're watching and partners of women who have given birth recently or that are postpartum, make sure you're drinking your water. I say this all the time in my breastfeeding videos. It's so important, because not only for, your milk supply if you're breastfeeding, but it's important for your skin as well, because, our bodies are mostly water. So we need that water to make sure that everything is functioning the way it needs to. Like if you don't have enough water, your body will definitely tell on you. And I do drink water. I honestly can drink more. I always feel like I can drink more water. So I do drink water, but I just feel like because of, the lack of nutrients and, just having all the kids and breastfeeding, for so long and things like that, is definitely taking a toll on my skin. So it's a little bit better now. I am almost 11 months postpartum. So woo woo, I can't wait until Asa turns 1. That's exciting. But yeah, so my skin is kind of going back to normal now. Like I don't have those scales on my hand that I was talking about. And I'm talking about I would have that even after putting lotion on. So even putting on my most moisturizing lotion, which is, I think, Nivea. I use the deeper moisture. That really works good for my skin. It's not too crazily scented or anything like that. My skin, you know, agrees with that. So even after putting that on, I'm talking like an hour or 2 hours later, scales. Like just really, really dry, rough patches on my hand, and to the point where it was so cracked, it was actually painful. Like not bleeding, but I felt like soon it could have gotten to that point. So yeah, make sure you're taking care of yourselves out there, moms, if you are postpartum, especially if you are breastfeeding, because a lot of your nutrients, a lot of your energy is being expelled in that breast milk and making the breast milk and keeping up with your breast milk supply. So make sure you're taking care of yourself as well. And this is a reminder for myself too, because there's definitely areas of improvement that I can work on also, but things are going so much better. But if you are experiencing dry skin postpartum, just know that that's one of the fun things that comes part of the territory that you may not have known, but if you recently gave birth, that may be the reason why you are experiencing dry skin, regardless of the weather outside or the season that you may be in. So that's all that I wanted to share with you today. Comment below if you can relate to what I'm saying, or if there's any other areas of postpartum that you've gone through that you would like to share with other moms out there, so that you can warn them and kind of prepare them for all the crazy things that your body can do, or all the changes that your body can make after you give birth to your children. So thank you for watching today. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.